Warriors, I'm leaning on the desk because I need support. There's so much going on. You know, I was going through my weekly Warrior wrap up. Today is Saturday. I don't know when you'll be watching this. And I realized that it is Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. And I was thinking about something. I was thinking about all of the Asian women that are sex trafficked into the United States and within the United States. And it occurred to me, we hear mostly about, of course, our most vulnerable women and girls of color, boys and men as well, but we don't really hear much about the Asian community and sex trafficking. Now, think about it. So I did a little research, I did a little digging because every day I'm here in New York City, almost every day. I have friends and allies sending me pictures from different neighborhoods of women actually walking out on the streets. Old time prostitution, the stroll is back, and it has been back since this whole pandemic has been happening. And specifically from Queens, a lot of different neighborhoods in Queens, Flushing, Queens, very big Asian community. And I thought this would be the perfect opportunity in the month of May to shine a spotlight on the Asian community and talk about this. But I haven't heard anybody talking about it. So I'm here to talk about it. In the sex business, the Asian woman, the Asian girl is considered very exotic. There's a lot of fetishes. They're considered demure. They're considered they will bow down to men. They are considered they can do things other women cannot do. It is even thought by a lot of the sex buyers that Asian women have different body parts, and they're just overall, it's exotic, and they'll be very subservient. And who can we blame? Let's break this down a little bit. Who can we blame for that? Number one, I think we can all agree, tougher penalties, tougher laws for the sex buyer, because if we could work on ending demand, and this was a big one, Warriors, then we could cut out a lot of this, right? Right now, what do the buyers get? A slap on the wrist, a small fine, maybe one of those court-appointed, those classes. And we know that doesn't really make a dent in anything. But if we could hold them, truly hold them responsible, we would see, we have studies, a market decrease in sex buying. Let's talk about our Asian women and girls. Why is this allowed to go on? Why is this not being talked about? What can we do about it? I think the media, think about it, the American media, the American entertainment landscape, think of the way the an Asian woman, Asian people were portrayed in the media, right? Just think about it for a second and you'll know what I mean. So fast forward, we know with the different porn sites, there are so many different categories with Asian girls, Asian women, Asian boys, and it's flourishing. So I want all of you to think about all these things. These are also our brothers and sisters. Again, we talk a lot about women and girls of color. We're not talking about the Asian community. We're not talking about Chinese gangs that I am told, specifically women, Chinese women are running these sex trafficking businesses in Queens. Organized crime, Warriors. This is organized crime. Why? You know the answer, money, and lots of it. And it's easy for these traffickers to traffic people, much easier than drugs, right? You can sell a person over and over many times in one day. Drug transaction is one time, but I know you know all of this. My concern in talking about all of this is calling out, the media for not discussing during this month of May, Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Like, why aren't we talking about this? Number two, what are we doing about it? Number three, how about all these illicit spas? Occasionally, we hear a story. Remember there was that shooting a year or so ago, and the young man went in and shot up a couple of spas. And the woman who ran the two spas, she was arrested. And the men, I don't even want to go into the story, paid a fine. But we know a lot of these women are being trafficked through these illicit spas, right? They come to this country and they think, here's something a lot of people don't know. It is so poor in a lot of these countries, whether it's China or Thailand or Philippines, it is so poor there. No matter what we think here, it is so poor for the most part. Many of these women, because I work with them, whether they are what we call a survivor, so they have gotten out of the sex trade, or currently prostitutes that I also work with, will tell me it's always the same story pretty much. They have come to the United States seeking a better life, seeking to make money, seeking to build themselves up, send money home to their families behind. And they truly do believe the streets are paved with gold. Warriors, that's the perception. So these women, let's talk about women for a moment, think they're coming to work in a hotel, coming to work any kind of hospitality business. And I'm thinking of an example of somebody who told me her story. In banking in Indonesia, wanted to come to the United States, wanted to live here. Applied for a job she saw in the newspaper at the time. So we're going back a few years when they had job listings in the newspapers. And it was for the hospitality business. So she thought she was getting into the hotel business. How glamorous and exciting in the middle of Manhattan is what she thought. And everything was nice and done. And her driver would pick her up at Kennedy Airport and drive her into Manhattan to the hotel where she would get situated and be housed. What happened is, after 6 hours, she started questioning, isn't Manhattan closer than 6 hours away? But you see, what they do, warriors, is when they pick you up at the airport or the train station or the bus station, they say, let me take your bag and let me hold your credentials for you. And all these women do it all the time. They hand over their IDs, their passports, licenses. Now they have no identification. Now they realize, as this one woman did, 6 hours. She was well into Virginia by then. The car doors were locked. She had no ID. And from that point forward, she was trafficked. Coming here for a job in hospitality, hotels, and immediately thrown into a roadside motel. A woman was there, said, put this outfit on or else. And every couple of days moved her and some other young women to motels. That is a common tactic with the traffickers. They don't stay in any place too long. They move them. They want to keep also, the victim confused all the time, right? Let's fast forward in the story. Then they get them addicted to drugs. Then they're compliant no matter what. And they're trapped and they're in a new country. They're just trying to survive. No way out. So when you think our country, if I'm hearing this story over and over again, and it's been going on for, I can trace this story back to 2 decades. Don't you think our government has a duty to warn these other places about these jobs, to do your vetting, a call to action, a take action? Why we get involved in everything else, 40 billion to Ukraine, but we can't warn people about all of this. So what a shame, warriors. But I want to urge all of you, there's always hope. And what you have to do is always follow Lynn's Warriors website, lynswarriors.org. Also, if you see something, say something. You never know. It does matter. It can make a difference. I don't want to hear that attitude, it doesn't matter. Or, the police aren't arresting anybody. Or They let them out of jail because I'm telling you, warriors, this is an American crisis and the demand is for children. And we don't want your child or grandchild to be the next victim. We want to intervene. Prevention, education is needed. I can't say it enough. As a matter of fact, tomorrow I'll be talking in Basking Ridge, New Jersey. I've been invited and I'm very honored. Moms for Liberty. I urge all of you, go to that website, momsforliberty.org. Over 90,000 members across the United States. It's moms, dads, grandparents, concerned citizens, educators, all in the name of protecting family rights, children's rights, and, too much government overreach. So I'm very honored if you're in that area and like to come out on a hot Sunday. We're going to have a hot day tomorrow, hot day today here in New York, Basking Ridge, New Jersey, Millington Baptist Church at 2 p.m. You can get more information, King George Road, go to Lynn's Warriors, Twitter, Facebook. I have it. I have the flyer, the invite right there. But again, Basking Ridge, New Jersey, tomorrow, Sunday at 2 p.m. Just to talk about, I've been invited to talk about digital safety because we're not ending it. We're not stopping all of this predation online and real time. Now that we're open up from COVID, more and more stories are coming out about real-time predation, where kids are being, grabbed. A young woman went to, she was with her dad at an NBA game recently, went to the ladies' room and disappeared. She was found 11 days. She was just found about 11 days later because a private nonprofit helped investigating and found her images on a porn website. 15-year-old girl. When I tell you, warriors, the demand is for children. The demand is for children. This is organized crime. This is shame on America. This is shame on our government for not doing more to intervene and protect, despite all the chatter. I work on policy for New York City, New York State, and with the federal government. There's a lot of good bills pending, but nothing is really protecting the kids right now. There's another story I just posted today where a young man killed himself. He exchanged an image thinking it was a girl, another teen, and this is called sextortion. And we need to know all these terms. We need to openly talk to the kids because we do know by age 11, almost every child has seen porn, graphic. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. So take it from me, warriors. I'm here to relay all the information to you. Let's keep an eye on each other, our families, our communities, and let's at a grassroots level grow bottom up, because it takes each and every one of us. And think about all of our neighbors. Think about what all of these people trafficked or the sextortion going online. It has cost families, it's estimated last year alone, over about $16 billion in paying sextortion. This is crazy. So while we have all of this going on, keep an eye on each other. Keep an eye on the kids. Remember, the demand is for children. Do not let them out of your sight. Talk to them about what's going on online. Remember always, apps. Apps are the new thing where trafficking is happening. Children ages 9 to 17 have anywhere from 11 to 29 apps on their devices. You better start being aware, because we're entering Web 3.0 and the metaverses, and the nightmare has only begun. Today and every day, protect your children. Be a warrior.